welcome to Sweet Mama's Farm. Today we're going to talk about clabber. Um, Clabber has been one of my new favorite things to do. This all started with me wanting to find as much natural ways, old ways of doing things. It started with bread, making my own wild yeast, and this year I started to I started dabbling into cheese making last year, but it was a struggle. But now, for the last several months, I've been doing clabber cheese, and I want to share this with you guys because I think it is absolutely amazing. What you need for clabber cheese is fresh raw milk, which we just milked this morning. It's from our sheep, our Icelandic sheep, so it's pretty delicious. And then what you're going to need next is pint jar or quart jar, depending on how much milk you have for the clabber. So as I'm doing this, I'll kind of explain what I'm doing and why, what the process of clabber is. So what I like to do first is strain. So we strained the milk already in this. I just like to overkill straining, just to make sure that there's nothing else in there. But I'll strain the fresh milk into this container. And then on days that we don't need drinking milk drinks, I will just use it all to make cheese. But today is a day that we're actually almost out of milk, so I've got to go fill up some milk. So your raw milk is now in your pint jar. The really cool thing about raw milk, I know raw milk gets a bad rap, and people talk about how scary it is and everything else like that. But really, in all reality, raw milk is not inherently bad. What can cause issues with raw milk is more about your sanitation of milking. If the area of where you're milking is unclean, and if you don't wash the udders and the teats well, and if your hands are dirty, your bucket is dirty, those kind of things, that can cause bad bacteria to get into the milk, and can cause harm. But the amazing thing about raw milk is you can have all that, even if it gets a little bit of stuff, like you're breathing in dirt, there's straw everywhere, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to kill you, and it's not going to kill the milk either. The cool thing about milk is that it actually has its own micro community of bacteria and fungi, which can kind of sound kind of gross, but because of that, it actually can fight off a lot of the bad bacteria. Now, if you get poop or something in your milk, don't drink it. That's nasty. Your sheep steps in it or something like that, or your cow or whatever. Don't drink it. I don't recommend that. I'm talking about just the wind comes, or just the things that are just normal. But you definitely want to wash your udders, your teats. Make sure that your area is clean, your hands are clean, the equipment that you're using is clean. Be smart about it, right? If you're even questioning the raw milk, and afraid that it might have gotten contaminated because of whatever reason, don't use it. That's okay. Don't use it. I do that. If I even feel uneasy about that day's milking, I just don't use it. I actually put it in the freezer, and I'll use it for soap making. That's what I use it for. If I even question it. But typically, overall, as long as you're being smart and you're clean, your raw milk is going to be it's going to be okay. And because of the micro community, what the milk is actually doing right this moment that we cannot see is it is already starting to break down the lactose in the milk. It's already doing its bacteria thing and the fungi thing and breaking down this lactose. And that's why raw milk is so awesome, is because of the community that it's in. It keeps the milk safe, but also it helps break down the things that our own bodies struggle to break down. So those that have lactose problems, that's why they typically can drink raw cow's milk or goat's milk or sheep's milk. I actually, sheep's milk is about the only milk that I can drink because of its properties of breaking down the lactose and having the higher proteins and different things in it. My body handles sheep's milk way better than goat's milk or cow's milk, even raw. But because of this, it makes Clabber. Breaking down that lactose process turns the milk into Clabber. And the Clabber, now, if we were to leave pasteurized store-bought milk at home on the counter, it smells horrific and it tastes even worse, and it's not fun. When you're at the going to school and you open up the milk carton and you take a swig without smelling it, gross. Did that like twice, and after that I always smelled the milk. Didn't learn the first time, learned the second time. But what happens is really cool, is that after about 24 hours with my sheep's milk and being at room temperature of like 70 plus, my sheep's milk within 24 hours turns into Clabber. Now, if you have a bigger amount of milk, it could take longer. Cows and goats' milk takes longer than sheep because it doesn't have the concentration of what the sheep's milk does. Sheep's milk, you can read my blog post about it, actually has way more nutrients and protein and all that kind of stuff than cows and goats. It's one of the most nutritious milk on the market. But anyway, I digress. The Clabber, sorry, let me see if I can do this. The Clabber, it starts to turn into like a yogurt consistency. The milk does, and you don't want. See how it's just completely white and beautiful. That's what you want. You want this nice yogurty white texture, deliciousness, and it smells so good. It smells really good, and it tastes good. I'll get a new spoon, but like I really like it. Here's my new spoon. But what you don't want to see is that there will be, if you leave your Clabber out too long without feeding it, it actually starts to separate. You'll see the white curd come down, and then you'll have this yellowish, clearish liquid on the top, and that's the whey. So when you're making cheese, you'll actually have a discard of whey from it, but when it's in the Clabber, you don't want that to happen. It doesn't taste very good, and it's gone too far in the clabbering process. So you don't want to use that as cheese making, culture, or Clabber cheese. So what you'll have to do is you kind of start the process over. You'll get your raw milk, and you'll take the separation and you'll feed that into the new raw milk, and you'll do that a couple times until it gets that nice taste, that sweet, tangy-ish taste. Like it's really, I know it sounds crazy because we think it's going to be gross, but it's actually really good. But that's what you want to do. So I will show you how to feed your Clabber. So we've got the raw milk. We've got our Clabber that's nice and delicious. And what I do, it's like a tablespoon or two. I usually do like 3 spoonfuls of Clabber, maybe 4 sometimes, just because I'm wanting to. And I put it in there. Now Clabber needs to breathe. You don't want to like suffocate it. It's like a sourdough. You need to feed it every day, and you need to make sure that it can breathe. So what you'll do is you'll take the sealed part of your lid and put it up, facing up, so that the bottom part is facing down. This helps so that the seal, it doesn't seal, it still allows it to breathe. And I screw it on. I don't screw it on so tight that it might not be able to breathe. I just loosely do it. And then this is ready to sit on the counter for about till tomorrow morning. And then it's Clabber for me. Now cow's milk and goat's milk can take a little longer, like 2 to 3 days, possibly, potentially. If you're doing more milk, I've experienced where if I have a bigger amount of milk, it will take a little longer to Clabber. But typically, and I did a big batch of Clabber yesterday because I'm gonna put that over there so that it can Clabber for tomorrow. I didn't need drinking milk because we don't have a milking cow yet, or we have a milking cow. She's just not in milk yet. We rely on our sheep for our raw milk, and we don't get a lot. We get about right now it's in the lower season, so we're getting probably about a quart and a half of milk. So I switch off on making a big batch of Clabber and then a smaller batch of Clabber, just so that we have drinking milk and we have cheese, because I love this cheese. I can be weird. Anyway, but so this, even though I have a little bit more milk in here, my quart jars typically also Clabber within 24 hours. I put more Clabber in the quart jars than I do my pint jars. So just be aware of that. So you'll want to kind of double your Clabber into your quart. But yeah, so once your Clabber's ready, next step is I like to use a bread cloth, a damp bread cloth. You can use a cheesecloth. I've liked the bread cloth better. Maybe that makes me not a cheesemaker or a good one. I don't know, but I like the bread cloth better. But what I do is I've washed this. So I washed my milk bucket because it's just tall and it has this perfect like thinner top. And I'll get my strainer and I'll put it on top of that. And I have a smaller one that fits, but because I'm using so much Clabber today, it doesn't work as well. So what I do is you just pour it in. Sorry, I'll try to get you to be able to see this. And then I'll take this other. Slowly pour it in. And then what you can do next, now I actually leave it on this over throughout the day. This is in the morning, so I leave it through the whole day and then the night. If I have a smaller batch, depending on what consistency you want, you just check it. If you want like a really softer, if you're wanting a yogurt, you just let this drain for a few hours and then you take it out. You add honey or whatever you want to add it to, and it's actually really quite good. If you're wanting more of a cream cheese, soft cheese, then I like to let it sit all day and overnight. I will salt it halfway. I'll salt it and kind of just fold it on itself in salt, and then I'll taste it in the morning. If it's still not quite as salty as I like it, then I'll sprinkle a little bit more salt. But that's what I do. You can hang it. I'm just, at the moment, I'm not able to hang things. So I just leave it in my little strainer over my milk jar. And I leave it on the counter. And that's what I do for Clabber cheese. And it's quite delicious. I'll actually go get you some. this is the Clabber cream cheese that I use like every day. I throw it in my eggs. I put on my eggs. I put it on toast, crackers, bagels, and you can put herbs in it if you want, however you want to flavor it. It's do whatever you want with it. Really, it's awesome. A book that I was reading on it, he suggested a way to preserve it for about 8 months, which love that idea. Is you get olive oil, and this is why it looks kind of funky. It's olive oil. Get good olive oil. You put the Clabber cheese into a ball, and you roll it into herbs. After you've salted it, you roll it into herbs, and then you put it in the olive oil, and then you can put it in the fridge. You don't have to put it in the fridge because the olive oil keeps the air out of it. But if your ball, like your cheese ball, does float to the top, toss it. Don't keep it. But if you keep it in the fridge, the olive oil will congeal, and then it forces all the cheese in the bottom. It doesn't come up to the top, and I like that. It kind of looks gross, but it's good. This one actually's got a couple cheese balls missing because it's delicious. This is like a rosemary. I think this is my rosemary garlic. I like it a lot. My next adventure is to do a hard cheese from it. You can do that, which I'm kind of excited to try. A little nervous. So down the road, that will be my next experiment. But right now, it's a lot of flavors that I'm doing. But anyway, that is Clabber cheese. It's pretty exciting, pretty cool. If you don't have your own animals to milk for raw milk, see if you can find somebody local that has a cow's milk share or program or whatever. Or if your stores, I know some states have stores that sell raw milk. As long as it's just a couple days old, it should be good, and you can talk to them about getting your raw milk to make cheese. It's really simple. You don't need anything special, as you can see, and it really does. I quite like it, and so does my family. So I hope you enjoyed this. We will see you next time on the farm. Bye.